So after playing the World War III alpha test for a few days now, the rose-colored glasses have come off, and I've been able to see the game with a more critical eye. I put way more hours into the game this weekend than I thought I'd be able to, and those hours have been helpful in showing me the game's shortfalls. And the biggest one is what the game didn't offer during the alpha. Let's talk about it.
Under attack.
Welcome to the channel, gamers. My name is Tac-Ops. Today I want to talk a bit about the World War III alpha, since that test is probably over by the time this video is out. I've had some time to reflect on my experience, and I've got some thoughts on what the game really needs to add to make a refined and unique experience, because World War III is in a unique position here. It's got a unique opportunity to garner the attention of both the more casual enjoyers and the hardcore community. But I'll get to that in a bit. I'm going to start with the problems I saw in the game and address those. Obviously, this is just an alpha build, so there is plenty of time to fix these issues before the open beta, and then before the release, whenever both of those are. But there are still things that need to be addressed. First and foremost, the sounds in the game. I'm sure you've heard this if you've listened to any World War III video at this point. The biggest aspect of the sounds that need revamped is the footsteps. Everyone's walking around with dead silence the whole time, and I've noticed that's been a really frustrating part of the game for a lot of people. And obviously with good reason. You're trying to take a position, and then out of nowhere, you get flanked from some rando just entering the building 3 feet away to your right with no warning. So this obviously has to be changed. It's going to be changed. But to go along with this, sometimes you're across the battlefield, and even though you know there's some intense fighting going on across the map, you can't hear a thing. You should at least be hearing echoes of explosions from tanks or something. And along with this, the audio occlusion is sort of strange too. There were some issues where I couldn't hear anything inside the building, but the moment I stepped outside, that's when I could hear everything just blowing up. Even when everything was just 100 meters away from me, I still couldn't hear it indoors. So obviously those are issues that they're going to address. I know some people didn't like the weapon sounds and thought that they were a little bit worse, and I guess some of them could have been. Some of them just sounded a little weaker, but some of them sounded a little better. The M417 I thought sounded better. The barrel sounded a lot better. Like here's the before barrel and the after barrel. See, I like that pop sound a little bit better. And if they can just turn up the bass a little bit for most weapons, I think that that's something that people really enjoy when it comes down to weapon sounds. The heavy thud that comes with the gunshots into people's ears from their headphones is a satisfying thing. Moving on to the grind when it comes to weapons and attachments. Now, one of the things that worries me here is the length of the grind. I played for probably 10 to 15 hours this weekend, somewhere around there. Admittedly, more time than I should have, because I should have been writing a script or editing some sort of video, but I just wanted to keep playing the game because the experience was a nostalgic experience for me. But even with all that time on the alpha this weekend and only 19 weapons implemented into this build, I think I progressed to level 20 and I didn't unlock all the weapons. I didn't hardly unlock any attachments, which I would say isn't a good idea for an alpha weekend in general. The experience gain should be boosted through the roof so anyone can experience it all. But that's neither here nor there. But the fact that it took me so long on an alpha weekend to not be able to unlock everything worries me a little bit. I understand the transition from the purchase anything method to the level lock method that they have now, and I agree with it. A grind is what boosts player retention and gives the player goals. However, it's got to be done right. If it's too slow or too grindy, people are going to just hop off because they don't want to spend hours and hours and hours grinding for a specific weapon or attachment they want. They're going to get bored. They're going to get annoyed. And if it's too quick, then nobody has any reason to keep playing because they've already completed the game. So they've got to tweak that a little bit. I think the open beta will show them a little bit more of what they need to do with that. I know on one of the end screens or something like that, there was a boosters sign. So you can apparently buy XP boosters. Again, you've got to be careful with this. I understand the psychological aspect that they're going for to promote purchases in a free-to-play title. That's got to be there at some point, but you've got to be careful that that system doesn't become too scummy or greedy. But us Western world gamers are spoiled rotten, so that game will be dropped in a heartbeat. It's a fine line between promoting products and predatory sales, so you've got to be really careful here. And lastly, in regards to the game that we saw, the servers need some work. The partnership was supposed to bring better stability and server quality from before. While this was better than the initial launch back in 2018, for sure, there were still some issues connecting, and I'd get this random initializing screen. I'm going to assume it's a communication thing between Steam and the My Games launcher. That kind of complicates things a bit, I bet, but something's certainly got to be sorted out when it comes to that. That pretty much goes without saying, though. If the servers aren't top-notch upon release, the game is going to have another rough launch. Alright, now moving on to my primary concerns when it comes to the future of this game. The first of these is the anti-cheat, and I know this is a big one on everyone's list as well. But with any free-to-play model comes a swarm of cheaters because the punishment for cheating is you just have to make another account for free. They've got to be on top of this here. And I do like that there's a death screen where you can see where you've been shot at, so that way you can expect if every single shot hits you in the head, it's likely a cheater and you can report them. So that needs to be there. There wasn't a report feature in the game. I mean, it's just an alpha build, but that needs to be there as well. I don't exactly know what kind of anti-cheat My.Games uses by default, but for a free-to-play title, it's got to be a good one. Hopefully they can implement some sort of hardware ban because that's pretty helpful. I don't know what it takes to do that, but whatever they've got to do against those low self-esteem, low IQ players who decide to cheat because they've got the personality of a Sasquatch and can't get any real friends, they've got to do it well. Finally, my last and biggest concern with this game is that people are going to get bored with what the game doesn't offer. The game in itself is a casual shooter with more hardcore elements than something like Call of Duty or Battlefield. The low time to kill and heavy weapon recoil all promote a more tactical approach to engagements. The problem is, while Tac-Ops can be a fun mode, it's lacking heavily in intensity. Maybe boosting the server by 10 players, 5 extra on each team may help here, but the spawn, die, respawn nature of this mode doesn't really promote a whole lot of intense moments because, like the cheating problem, the punishment isn't severe. It's just a few seconds out of the game and then back into the action. What I think the game really needs is a one-life mode, or just a more competitive mode that offers the intensity that hardcore games are great at providing. Whether that's a search and destroy mode, or maybe the old breakthrough mode, or the recon mode if that still exists. Somebody please tell me that that still exists. I don't know, but it's going to need more than just 2 game modes if it's going to do well and hold attention. The game is in a unique spot between casual and hardcore, and I don't think Team Deathmatch and Tac-Ops utilizes this position very well. So they need to capitalize on this area of the market, or people are going to get bored pretty quick. You've got an opportunity with this game to capture the attention of both the hardcore gaming community and the casual community. So capitalize on that and don't be generic. All right, there you go. Those are my thoughts. Those are some things that I think this game will need to alter or change if it's going to have a real name in the first-person shooter genre. Don't get me wrong, I had loads and loads of fun over the weekend and lots of enjoyable moments. A lot of the game has been upgraded, but there are still things that need changed if it wants to be what it's aiming for. Unfortunately, we still don't know a release date, and we've still got a few betas ahead in the future to further see how the game has progressed, with those betas being very specific in what they're focusing on in those builds. With this being October and a few other betas left to test, it looks like either very late this year or early next year will be the full release. I said a while ago that probably Q1, maybe the spring of 2022 would be a good idea. That's likely where it's going to come in here. All right, what do you guys think? What do you think about the build? What do you think about the game mode idea? I know a lot of the OGs weren't a huge fan of this build, but I personally enjoyed it. I know that you think that it's not as hardcore as it used to be, but again, the recoil has been adjusted to actually be a lot more difficult. The pistols have been buffed a little bit. I know the SMG hipfire maybe isn't as crazy as what it used to be, but this is just an alpha build. There's room for tweaking with those things, and really the game has gotten more hardcore. There are just more things on the screen. One of the ways that I found to kind of combat this and make it a little bit more immersive is you can turn off the hood. So that's something that you can do to enjoy the game a little bit more if that's your thing. But anyways, let me know in the comments down below what you think. Thanks for stopping by and watching the video. We're at nearly 25,000 subscribers, and every day brings in another 100 or 200 subscribers. So thank you guys all so much for that support. It's pretty incredible, and I'm very grateful for your support. If you're new here, I cover primarily first-person shooters and more specifically hardcore shooters, so that's the kind of content that you can expect from me here. If you want to keep up with those and keep moving ahead past 25,000 subs, go ahead and join the crew and hit that subscribe button. Again, thank you all for watching. Stay safe out there. Be courageous, and more importantly, stay tactical.